what is up everybody, Gannon here, welcome back to another one of my Star Trek reviews. I'm grinning ear to ear, I'm really happy because I just got done watching the series finale to Star Trek Picard. Ever since we first heard news about a drama series coming out about Picard, we as fans have long theorized about what the end of that, what it could look like, what that could mean for him, the next generation, and the entirety of the Star Trek universe. I'm just really happy to be here after reviewing every single episode of this series, see its final episode come to fruition after all the teasers, after all the announcements, see what Terrry and the producers could come up with, how they were going to bring back some of our most beloved TNG cast members. Last week's episode, Terrry and the crew revealed that the big bad, the person who's been manipulating Jack and the person who's been orchestrating the changelings to be insurgents to invade Starfleet, been revealed to be the Borg and the Borg Queen. When they made that little announcement, I am going to be honest, I got a bit anxious just because of the sheer volume, the amount of times that we have seen the Borg, the amount of times that they've been utilized in Star Trek Picard. I thought that maybe they could have come up with something a little bit more original, just needed a bit better of an explanation. I didn't get a good enough one in last week's episode. It all left me a little bit anxious, but after finishing today's finale, I can confidently say that Terrry and the crew and the producers did a very good job wrapping it up. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Huge spoilers ahead. If you have not seen the episode, be sure to click off now, go watch it, and then come back and join in on the discussion. Season 3, Episode 10, titled The Last Generation. Let's get right into it. To shed a singular tear to myself and all my fellow Star Trek Shaw fans out there, because it became evidently clear to me at the midpoint of the episode that he's not coming back. He is definitely dead to the grave. Captain Shaw was shot abruptly fleeing Borg with the rest of the gang, and I held on to every hope that he was going to come back via some Borg technology, nanoprobes. Maybe 7 of 9 was going to stay for a couple extra minutes and save his life. Maybe he was going to get assimilated and revitalized and then turned back into a human. Anything for Captain Shaw to live. But then at the midpoint of the episode, when you see 7 of 9 get a promotion from Tuvok, you see a little bit of a farewell message. Not really a farewell message, it's a farewell message to me. But it is a message to Starfleet from Captain Shaw, giving 7 of 9 props, saying that she is a very great and capable officer. While he is very by the book and boring, she is going to write her own amazing book one day, and she's going to be a great captain. He also advised that she be promoted upon returning to Space Dock, which she did. We finally get to see Tim Russ return as Captain Tuvok to give her that promotion. I am very disappointed that we did not get to see Admiral Janeway in today's episode. After the events of the Borg Queen and Jack were all said and done, there was a juicy 20 minutes left where I thought we were going to get a crazy amount of fan service and cameos. I thought I was going to see Barclay and Janeway, but no! Why wasn't Janeway there to give 7 her promotion as well as Tuvok? Doesn't really make much sense to me because they have Kate Mulgrew on cast for Star Trek Prodigy. Why couldn't they have paid her to return for like 20 seconds in a live action format? Is it because Kate Mulgrew is kind of a weird lady? Does she want too much money? I really need an explanation for this, because as much as I loved everything that the producers did in the finale, you really need to be bringing all the cards out. And if that means breaking the bank to give me my 20 seconds of Janeway, you need to make it happen, Terry. You need to make it happen, because I was a little bit disappointed how little cameos I got in that last 20 minutes. Today's episode starts off with them on the Enterprise D comms panels. It is a just 100% word for word, bar for bar modern recreation. We have a message from the Federation president going out to everybody just warning them to save themselves, don't be a hero, we're getting attacked right now by some crazy forces. Earth as we know it is probably going to be destroyed. The Federation president right now, going by the name of Anton Chekhov, implied to be an ancestor of the helmsman of the original Enterprise that we all know and love, Pavel Chekhov. This is definitely a reference to the actor that played Chekhov in the live-action Star Trek J.J. Abrams movies. He died in a freak automobile accident in 2016, so rest in peace to Anton. After hearing that message, they come to the conclusion that they need to find Jack. They need to save him in order to save the rest of the Federation, because they're one ship, and even though they're not synchronized with the rest of the fleet and they can't be detected, there's not so much a relic derelict ship can do against 30 to 40 top-of-the-line dope starships. They locate Jack, they find the Borg and the Borg Queen, and it's pretty cool that there is an oversized Borg cube slash transwarp conduit hiding in the gas giant Jupiter, and I just think that's funny that there's a big Borg structure that's hiding in Jupiter. By this point, we have warp technology, and we have common craft that make runs around Jupiter and planets in the Sol system. Like, this has been referenced. This is actually grunt work. People who are new to Starfleet, who do grunt assignments, actually make these runs. Everything that goes on with the Borg in this episode, them going aboard the cube, meeting the Queen, Jack being turned into a new Locutus, Queen being reimagined into this scary, really bent up, worn figure. It reminds me so much of Star Wars. Sometimes it really scares me how much Star Trek is conscious of what Star Wars is doing and how much they futilely try to compete with them and try to do the things that they do and get inspired by them. Did anybody else see the Borg Queen in today's episode and think, oh my gosh, that is the Emperor Palpatine reincarnation clone that was brought back to life in the new Star Wars trilogy? You know, the one that was just kind of like hanging from the ceiling. In all the Star Wars legends, comics, and books, it's explained that Emperor Palpatine comes back one day because his consciousness is transferred into like a clone body via the Force. You haven't seen the Borg in 10 years. They're not really a threat anymore. In Prodigy, it's revealed that we definitely have the technology to go back and forth into the Delta Quadrant and to the Borg's home turf, essentially. So the Borg have totally fallen from power. The Borg Queen actually has little to no drones to even communicate with. She's very lonely. Her not being able to talk to the collective has definitely worn her down, and it shows, turning her into, like I've been saying, this creepy looking Palpatine amalgamation. Jack is the new Locutus. He is being used as the vessel to biologically infest the rest of the fleet. All the young cadets are now Borg. They're overthrowing the rest of their fellow officers and taking control of the ships. This is about 5 minutes into the video. If you're still watching, I'd like to kindly ask that if you're enjoying any of the content on the channel, that you please subscribe. I do kind of want to be a professional content creator one day, so once in a while I have to beg you to press that big red button. If you did it, I would be eternally grateful. I really liked the explanation they gave. It was exactly what I was asking for. I thought it would have been very wrong of them to explain that this gene, this biological Borg modification that has been lying dormant in Picard, I like how they didn't make it an elaborate scheme that the Borg have just been waiting for all of these years. They were like, oh yeah, Picard, we're gonna infect you and one day you're gonna have a son, and then that son is gonna become a Borg and he's gonna infect the rest of Starfleet. No, I like how it was explained in today's episode that the Borg Queen was dying and the whole Borg collective was finally dying out until she saw that glimmer of light that was Picard's son, and that actually made everything come full circle. It actually made it make a lot of sense. I was just finally happy with them finally giving us the season finale. It made a lot of sense. It wasn't just them pulling something out of their ass. I really liked the scenes between Picard and Jack as well, when Picard decided to intentionally assimilate himself again after all of these years to go and save his boy inside of the Borg collective. It was touching, it was beautiful, and those graphics when he connected himself and we saw some original source material taken from the 80s, like footage of him as Locutus. Really cool graphics, like graphics you would love to see on psychedelics. Love old 80s vintage sci-fi like that. And not to mention, the Enterprise D is just beautiful. The fact that they have spent so much money to recreate it, and seeing the cast and crew getting to interact and fly it around, touch the buttons and do everything again, and seeing this awesome version of Data be the helmsman and whip this Enterprise D around the Borg cube and around these twists and turns and corridors, all the while shooting out phasers and photon torpedoes. What an exciting season finale. I had so much fun. Ends up saving Jack, ripping him from the Borg Queen's clutches, and then they save all of Starfleet. Day is saved, and then, like I said, we had that final 20 minutes with just a little bit lack of fan service, but they spent most of that time letting us say farewell to the Next Generation crew in a all good things format. We get the final scenes of them having fun, laughing, joking around, and playing poker. Terry makes a good effort at introducing this next Generation crew. A lot of people are talking that this next generation crew might even become a spin-off show. I think that this is a little bit dubious. In all honesty, I don't know if we're going to get a spin-off show with Seven and the new crew, which consists of Jack Crusher, Sydney, the LaForge daughters, and then also Rafi is the #1 commander, second in command. It is revealed that after Seven gets her promotion, and after they introduce Jack and Picard to the new ship, which is the USS Titan, refitted to now be the Enterprise G. The Enterprise E, which was destroyed by Worf, was a Sovereign class. It was a beautiful giant ship. And then the Enterprise F, which was just recently introduced in episode 9. Admiral Shelby was commanding it. That is an Odyssey class, which is a design I'm pretty sure has long been existent in like a non-canon format in Star Trek Online, but they just recently took the opportunity to finally show us the Enterprise F in last week's episode. I also looked up on Google, and there have been tiny comm panels showing that the Enterprise F has been decommissioned recently. I think it's a little bit funny that the Enterprise G is so small and dinky compared to the stoic, large, and powerful Odyssey and Sovereign classes. Like, the Sovereign class is one of the most beautiful and mighty looking starships of all time, and I just think that the Enterprise G is a little bit small and dinky. It is a ragtag ship made up of pirates and rejects, though. Something I thought was a little bit funny is that in season 2 they explained that Seven didn't have a good relationship with Starfleet, and she was a Fenris Ranger because they had stigma and prejudice about her being Borg, which is just incredibly bad writing, because here we are in this position where Jack Crusher last year almost slaughtered the entire damn human race and all of Starfleet by making a personal decision. He like almost went traitor villain on us, and now he has been accelerated through the ranks of Starfleet and has been just handed an ensign pip for all of his troubles. So I just thought that was a little bit funny, the kind of double standards here that we're playing. Rafi finally got some closure with her son after these 3 seasons. All of her undercover exploits were made public after saving the day via the help of Worf. Her son finally got to see that she has reformed and that she has actually been making priorities about saving the entire Federation. Gabe finally decided to give her a call up, and I thought that was really sweet. I always enjoyed that little underlying bit of Rafi's arc, to note how she used to be somebody who fell out of Starfleet, became a substance abuser, and was kind of roughing it for a while, and had a really bad relationship with her biological son. Really cool to see Rafi shape up and become, you know, #1 commander on the USS Titan. I don't know how long that is going to stick around. I honestly don't know if the cast and the crew of the USS Titan are good enough to warrant a future series. I think that they're probably going to get comics and stuff about them in the future, because of course 7 of 9 being the captain of her own ship is awesome. Definitely going to get some comics and books about that. But are we actually going to get a whole series called Star Trek Legacy? I'm a little bit dubious about that. Overall though, some of my favorite moments in the episode were definitely the Enterprise D flying around the Borg cube. That was just animated beautifully. The CGI was gorgeous. I really did enjoy the Borg Queen's Emperor Palpatine design, by the way, and also, as much as we may be criticizing the fact that they have overused and kind of beaten the Borg to death, I think that it is very cool that they are finally defeated and are dead. The Borg are really one of the most iconic things about Star Trek. The more and more that they've appeared over the years, the more that they have written about them, and the more that we've learned about the Borg, the more that they have kind of become trivialized. Entire fleet of top-line starships couldn't even defeat one cube, to now we get all the way to the end of Voyager, to where a single Intrepid class starship that has Borg modifications can take on multiple cubes. Then you have the Star Trek Picard drama, which just kind of like vomits Borg every opportunity it gets, and the whole Borg storyline with Agnes is questionable, to be honest. It's kind of good that they finally decided to put a lid on the Borg story. While they did put a lid on the Borg story, though, Terry did something that is 10 out of 10 S tier. I stuck around because I was like, okay, they introduced the next generation, but is that really it? Do I really not get any more cameos than that? I need more. I heard that they were premiering the last 2 episodes, select theaters for people to watch, and I'm thinking there's gotta be some Marvel Avengers Endgame type scene that is going to be at the end of the episode, and there was. Q coming back and talking to Jack Crusher in his quarters aboard the new Enterprise G. Amazing. I thought that was great. I think it was a really big mistake for them to kill off Q and have him die. He is the most powerful alien species of a character you can have. Dude has infinite control over space, time, and dimension. You could easily take advantage of that by saying that the version of Q that died in season 2 was the oldest version of Q possible, traveling all the way back in time to say goodbye to friend Picard at a moment in time when Picard really needed it. So this version of Q that is talking to Jack Crusher is just the one that is alive and it is existing and is gallivanting around the cosmos. It makes no sense for John Delancey's Q to really ever truly die, and if not for him to totally come back to life like he did in the kind of teaser, it would have been really cool to have his son come back and play Q again, because he did play a young Q in Star Trek Voyagers. It's really amazing that they brought Q back. I'm sure everybody is so happy with how Terry fixed a lot of the problems that the first 2 seasons presented. Even if you are a huge criticizer of the series, I feel like if you go back and watch everything from start to finish, it might be pretty decent. I can tell you guys that I had such a good time watching today's episode. I loved pretty much every scene. I just thought that Captain Shaw's death was really abrupt, and the fact that they didn't touch up on it at all, and the fact that I didn't get to see Admiral Janeway, those are my 2 only real big criticisms of today's episode. And other than that, I think it pretty much was a work of art, and getting to see the next generation cast laugh, be happy again, and just play cards in their old ripe age. I love how Terry has brought back the next generation cast. I don't know if I could have asked for them to look any cooler, and seeing them with a smile on my face makes me smile. Season 1, and seeing them being introduced to each other for the first time, being so formal and professional, and now it's been so many decades in seeing them in their old age. He's so comfortable with each other, laughing, reminiscing, and just playing poker and cards like they always have done. And seeing Captain Picard play it with them on rare occasions like this is just so sweet and awesome. I give today's episode a 9 out of 10 for sure. The only thing keeping you away from a higher score for real is gotta be the Admiral Janeway cameo that I didn't get. But what do you guys think? I very much would like to hear your opinions down in the comments below. They're my favorite thing about YouTube. I really enjoy the interaction. If you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. Please slap a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Live long and prosper.